The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello, and welcome to Real Reviews. See, it says it right over my shoulder right there. Well, this shoulder.
Nice. It says re.
Oh, okay,
Revie.
fair enough.
Re-revie.
My name is Jamison Rabbit, and the man joining me each and every week, he's a guy who loves the feeling of stubbing his toe. His name is Mike Roth.
It's exhilarating. You know, sometimes you take advantage of, you have feet down there, but you don't really notice them. Just to give it a good stub, not only do you recognize that you have feet, you feel it. And you are aware of it for, minutes, sometimes days if you do it well.
Makes you feel alive.
It really does. If you get a headache, best way to do it, slam that pinky right into the dresser. Most of the time accident, sometimes a healing experience.
I'm going to try that. I've done it on accident. I've broken a toe doing that once.
See, wasn't it great?
Yeah, I remember it for sure. It's a moment I remember vividly.
Memory maker. Another reason I got to put that on my list. I'm going to stub my toe tonight.
There you go. Good. Don't forget, tie a string around your finger, whatever you got to do.
Nope.
All right, sir, we have some movies to talk about, thankfully. Otherwise, I don't know what we do. Just talk about nonsense for a half hour.
We could do it.
Well, we're gonna talk about movies along the way. And I'm going to get us started in the streaming spotlight this week with a film from Netflix called Hillbilly Elegy. This is from director Ron Howard. Stars Gabriel Basso as a man named J.D. Vance. Now, this is based on the book that the J.D. Vance wrote. It's his kind of autobiography of sorts that he wrote a couple years ago as a response to the question of why folks in rural areas, southern areas, why did they vote for Donald Trump in the 2016 election? And so he wrote this book about his life growing up in Appalachia and blah, blah, blah. And the movie kind of throws away most of that and tells kind of a different story than what the book was, which I thought was odd. But instead, the movie basically tells this pared down, thinner story about young JD who grew up in Kentucky. And this is his real story in which we kind of cut back and forth in his life. We see him as an adult trying to get away from Kentucky, have a life with the woman he loves. He's moved out east. He's trying to fit in with these Ivy League types. He's trying to be a lawyer out in D.C., but his troubled family past kind of pulls at him and instills doubt in him, and his family pulls him. His family basically holds him back in his mind and in real life, and he holds secrets even from his girlfriend about his family and his past. She doesn't really know a whole lot about his family for good reason. And we'll find out because we then cut to his childhood of a young JD, and we see his very complicated family dynamic where his mother, played by Amy Adams, is an on and off junkie. And she's very much not America's sweetheart Amy Adams in this movie. She's kind of a monster. And we see Haley Bennett as his sister Lindsay. And we see how the movie basically focuses on how mental illness and abuse, both physical and emotional and substance abuse, all kind of shape this family dynamic of everyone and how the cycle of abuse starts and carries on. And we also have Mama, his grandmother, played by Glenn Close, who she's unrecognizable. She's amazing, right?
She is not.
She's like the family matriarch. She's kind of like the safe haven for young JD when his mom has gone off the rails. She protects him. She kind of pushes him. She instills some pride in him and kind of fills in the gap when his mom isn't able to be a mom. And she's the backbone of this family. And realistically, she's the backbone of this film. I mean, Glenn Close is just great in this. And as he's, he finds out that Mama and everything in his family isn't exactly what it appears to be as he grows up. As he's grown, he's always apologizing for his mom, just because, her failings, and he feels this son's guilt that he couldn't help his mom every time
'cause
she
that's
needed
the
him.
son's role.
Yeah, every time she
Yeah.
needs him, he needs to be there and drop things. So he's out there. He's got the interview of his lifetime out in D.C., but she's gone off the rails again. So he feels the guilt for it, and he's responsible for her. And it hinders his growth, and it hinders his ability to have any healthy relationships in his life. Just because of what he's gone through. And kind of the center of this film then shifts to being like, will J.D. leave his family behind to live his dream, or will he be pulled back? And you see that he's really, his dream life out east is he's living a fake life. He has fake friends because nobody knows him. Even his girlfriend doesn't really know him. He knows nothing about his drama growing up or how bad his mom is, because he hides it all. And it sounds kind of interesting, and there's some really good performances, but the film itself kind of all boils down to, unfortunately, what felt like a made-for-TV movie.
Okay.
With like great actors in it, giving great performances, but the film itself was like really basic.
Made for TV, like Hallmark. Made for TV?
Kind of, yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Because the networks, sometimes they do good stuff.
Right. And the big problem it stood out was because the lead, Gabriel Basso, who's JD, he was really, really just kind of basic. Like, he lacked a lot of the emotion that you would expect from a character like this. And it really stands out when you have Glenn Close doing what she's doing, and Amy Adams like going crazy, and Haley Bennett I love. She's better than what they gave her to do in this. And it could have been, I think, a really impactful story, but it just felt small about one family's drama in a small town in Kentucky instead of what could have been. And so I was much more interested in what could have been than what I actually got, unfortunately.
When you were mentioning the book, I was like, oh, this sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
But since it got scaled down so that it could be just a drama, it doesn't have any depth.
No, none at all. And that was my issue with it. So I give it a 2.5 stars. Great performances, blah movie. Glenn Close is great in this as always. But it's nothing special, unfortunately.
Thank you for taking it for the team.
My pleasure, sir. What do you have for us?
I have The Christmas Chronicles 2. This takes place 2 years, coincidentally, after the movie that came out 2 years ago. After the last situation, we have Derby Camp plays Kate. She is back again, and this time she's a little more bummed with life. Her mom found a new boo, and she expects them to get married or have the question pop. They're sitting in Mexico, and they're going to be kind of separated for the holidays, and she is ticked off. And she is kind of going to, she was like the #1 fan, the rooter of Santa Claus.
Yeah. And
now she's kind of changing a little bit, and then that kind of goes away real quick when Belsnickel, played by Julian Dennison. I like this kid, but he's never played a good guy. He is.
This is my thing. Is he plays the same role in everything?
He does.
I first discovered him Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yeah.
And then we saw him in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
He always plays the kid who's like lashing out at the world around him.
Yeah.
And is just kind of a jerk. He plays the same character in everything, which
time.
is a problem.
This one's downplayed a little bit, and unfortunately, I think he's forever typecast because
I was like, Little
I bet he
Ricky's
could do
here.
something else.
Oh, like get Ricky a new job.
Yeah,
come on.
But he's great in that role. He
Sure,
really is.
sure.
But anywho, Belsnickel, he used to be an elf, but because he had 7 qualities that are not elf-like, he turned human, which is the worst thing he can be.
It really is.
And in order for him to kind of get back into the grace of Christmas, isn't to kind of repent, but to just kill it.
Take Christmas down.
So he builds this wormhole that sends Kate and Jack, played by Jar Bruno. He is the soon-to-be little brother from the husband.
Right.
He gets whisked away into the North Pole, which is just like the first movie. They keep on reminding you that everything you know about Santa Claus is completely fake, and this is the real one. And that is what bugged me about the first one. But I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about this one, where you get reunited with Santa Claus, played by Kurt Russell, and Mrs. Claus, played by Goldie Hawn,
right.
Which right there, just having them together,
it's always good.
That is good.
Yeah.
And for the most part, a lot of this movie, what I enjoy is just seeing those two together, because they were the chemistry of the 80s.
They're like the only couple, the Hollywood power couple that's still around.
Yeah.
They've lasted 30 years.
And that is super awesome. And I like Kurt Russell. I like Goldie Hawn. I do not like, however, the portrayal of Santa Claus and how he's always reminding the audience, this is how Santa Claus really is. And they go over the top. And that part I could probably enjoy if I thought it was more funny. Like, this is not the Santa Claus you're used to. This is the one that blows things up and knows karate kind of Santa Claus. And if they made that kind of ironic, I think I would enjoy it more, but they really take Santa Claus as being Solid Snake.
What do you think about them introducing that the North Star powers Santa's village? I thought that was interesting, weird twist.
I find that the mixture of religion and the kind of pagan part of Santa Claus
I thought
and
that was
stuff
a very
like that,
odd choice.
I think it's very odd. I think it does better if you follow suit of everything else from the 50s on. Christmas is a Christian holiday, but when you're talking about flying reindeer and magic presents and stuff, kind of separate that from the religion.
And Bell's nickel has a power glove basically that takes down the North Star.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive, and all the magical powers. I did chuckle a little bit when Santa Claus was literally stopping arrows with.
So I like this version of Santa Claus. I mean, it's different. It's very different from all the other basic Santa Clauses.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like that. I like that he doesn't have to have the snow white beard or the same suit. And I like that this is a Santa he's a fighting Santa, ready to defend Christmas.
It's not, he has a suit, but it's leather.
Right. And I like that Mrs. Claus is the voice of reason. When they're ready to go to battle, and Mrs. Claus says, "Step in, be the voice of reason."
I like how Mrs. Claus is actually part of the action too.
Right,
and that's one of the great things of all the Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. It wasn't concentrating only on one character; it's both of them as a power couple, and that's awesome.
Yeah, you have your customary musical number in this movie. You have time travel, which I wasn't expecting. We're going back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I rewatched the first one. I enjoyed the first one more than I remembered enjoying it when we rewatched it.
I don't remember enjoying it. I don't remember much of it.
You gave it a 2.5. I went back and watched our show.
All right, cool.
From 2 years ago. And I've watched it since now, I think twice with my daughter. She really enjoys it.
Yeah.
And this one is different because I do like a lot of movies, the Crocodile Dundee franchise did this where, the sequel, now we have to take place in a different locale. So the first one took place in town on Earth. Yeah. Now this one, the whole movie basically takes place in Santa's village.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're changing up the surroundings. I like that. There's some things I didn't like the Yule Cat. Some of the CGI in this movie was pretty rough. The Yule Cat looked horrible. Some of those elves did not look great.
What about the sky battle?
Yeah, I think in 2020, if you're playing Who Let the Dogs Out, I'm docking you points for that.
Yeah.
I can't have that.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think this is as good as the first one, and you can do what you want with that.
Okay.
I think maybe some of the novelty of the first one and the fact that it was these kids discovering Santa for the first time and the magic of the little kid discovering Santa for the first time.
Can you remind me what you gave the first one?
I think I gave it a 3.5 if I remember
very
correctly.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So this one less than.
I think you're coming back to my level.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, let's find out. What did you give Christmas Chronicles to?
Apparently, I have the same emotions. I forgot about the first movie, but it is a 2.5. It's interesting. It's not good, and I'll forget about it.
You will. Yeah, I enjoyed it slightly more than you. I gave it a 3. A 3 out of 5 stars. I think the first one's better, but I still enjoy these, and I still cringe at the musical numbers. So, what do you do?
If he had all those powers for the musical number, why didn't he just use that without the musical number? I
don't know.
Why didn't he use that in the first movie?
Don't know. I don't have the answers. I look like the guy, but I don't have all the answers. All right. The next movie I have, sir, is a film from HBO Max. This is called Superintelligence from director Ben Falcone. Stars Melissa McCarthy, his wife in real life, as a lady named Carol. Carol is a regular gal who is struggling in her professional and her personal life. She is surveilled and contacted by a technological superintelligence. It's gained awareness and is everywhere in nearly every electronic device and it has chosen her. And to ease her mind and make this more palatable, it has adapted the voice of James Corden.
Good choice.
Very soothing. And Carol is being used as a guinea pig to decide whether humanity is worth saving or if this AI should just destroy humanity. But the big question is, will she find love along the way? So much like a film that we discussed about a month ago, L.A. Story, this mysterious AI is leading her to love. And it's a lot of her talking to her phone or talking to her microwave. And it's controlling everything about her. And it's pointing her towards Bobby Cannavale, who's a guy who she used to date years ago and has always kind of had a flame for. And can this superintelligence force them to fall in love? The plot is barely a plot.
Yeah.
Barely.
This is, I was this close to purchasing HBO Max.
Yeah.
And
this won't make you do it, trust me.
I didn't want to do it.
What really frustrates me, though, is how Carol is treated, and to a larger degree, how Melissa McCarthy is treated. Because it starts off, of course, embarrassing her for her weight. She's too fat for a beanbag chair. That's like one of the first jokes. Then we got her face falling, a couple of times in this movie. She's got to fall flat on her face. And more disturbing to me is how she's made to constantly apologize for herself throughout this movie. She should be allowed to have wants or needs, but unfortunately, she is constantly apologizing for being her to everyone.
Isn't that her shtick, though?
I don't think that's her shtick. It's the shtick of her in every movie that is directed by her husband. As I go through her filmography, everything that Ben Falcone does, like Tammy and The Boss, and all of these movies where she's fallen down and she's made fun of and she's apologizing for being a regular person, are movies that her husband directed. Last year, she was nominated for an Academy Award.
Oh, yeah.
She's an actual actress. Like,
yes, yes.
Can you ever forgive me? She was a good actress in that. I liked her in The Kitchen. I liked her in The Heat. I liked her in Life of the Party.
Ghostbusters.
I've seen her be good, and I want more for her, and she's being pigeonholed by her husband director. And I want that to stop because I think she's talented, and I think she deserves better, and she shouldn't have to apologize for just being herself in these movies, or her character having to apologize constantly for just being a regular person.
Do you think maybe her husband is working out other issues when he's
I don't know, but I really am getting I don't like it. I want more for her. Even in comedies, I've seen her excel outside of these trite situations that she's put in, and it frustrates me. And I don't want Ben Falcone to direct Melissa McCarthy in a movie anymore because he's horrible to her. And unfortunately, this is just another instance, along with, the Happy Time Murders and these horrible movies that we see her in. Like, she's more than this. And I just want her to realize that she's more than this, because it's silly. And the movie itself is just nothing.
I hope she sees this show. It's
Yeah,
not
I know
likely,
she does. She watches.
But, that would be nice, because you're right. She is a fantastic actress. And there are a lot of movies where I cringe that she's in, and that should not happen.
You don't have to fall on your face to get a laugh. You're smarter than that. You're a better actress. So anyways, that being said, I give Superintelligence 1.5 stars out of 5.
Oh. I am not getting HBO Max.
It's not a good movie.
No.
It's really not. So pass on Superintelligence. That's my recommendation. Sir, the final movie we have for review this week, what do you have for us?
I have The Happiest Season, directed by Clea Duvall.
Clea Duvall.
Clea Duvall.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Brilliant actress.
Well, there we go. But Kristen Stewart, she plays Abby. Right away at that point, I'm like, but I'm going to continue. And she is dating Harper, played by Mackenzie Davis. They have a wonderful relationship, and in the heat of the moment, Harper asks Abby to please come to Christmas vacation, pretty much at her parents' house. Abby agrees, they go off, and halfway to the house, that's when Harper says, hey, my parents, actually no one knows that I'm gay. So I told a big lie, and you're going to have to go through this lie.
You're going to be my orphan friend.
Yeah, and Abby was going to propose and had all this stuff, and that has to put a back seat. for the majority of this movie afterwards, we have Mary Steenburgen plays Tipper, that's Harper's mom. Victor Garber plays Ted, that's the dad. He's in a campaign. He doesn't want any scandal. His 3 kids all have to be perfect, but everybody has problems.
They're regular people.
He takes his daughters that he feels like can push his career a little ahead of the game, and then everybody else gets thrown in the back, Harper being the star child, right. And has to pretty much perform and be in the closet. And this movie is less about a Christmas movie, but more about the pains of being in the closet, which is a cool type of movie to go through. But the problem that I had with this movie is Harper is actually a terrible person.
She's awful.
And
she's forcing her girlfriend to go back into the closet.
Yeah, and she's ditching her at any time, and she has to live a lie pretty much by herself while Harper goes out and has fun and does a bunch of other things.
And when confronted with the opportunity to be honest, turns her back on the woman she loves to save face.
And the odd thing about this movie that kind of balances out is the people who portray him. Kristen Stewart, I don't like very much.
I really like her. I like her as an actress.
I just don't. And I can't put my finger at it. Maybe it's because she has no emotion. I don't know. It's her attitude, how she comes off. But she is the person that is supposed to be likable.
She's very sympathetic in this movie.
Mackenzie Davis is a fantastic, joyful actress that I really like, but she is terrible. So
I found myself angry at her halfway through this movie.
Yeah.
You're a terrible person.
Even if Abby was a stranger off the road that you brought, you don't ditch them in a stranger's house living a lie. You just don't do it. Even if her story was true, you just don't do this. And the whole thing is about Abby wondering if she should stay with Harper.
Right.
Because of her actions.
Because am I going to be forced to live a lie? Mm-hmm. Are we not going to get to live the life that we want?
Abby does meet up with an ex.
Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah. And she pretty much even spells the whole story, making it even worse for Harper.
Like, you're not the first one to go through this with Harper.
I mainly wanted to watch this because Dan
Levy.
Yeah, Dan Levy is in this, but I feel like he was written in at the last
he's very little in.
Yeah, for the billing he's at, he's in it very little.
He's a big name.
He is a big name now. Allison Brie, also a big name, but and in way more, but you don't see her on the billing as much as.
Right.
But either way, it ends on a happy note, but when you look back at this movie, you're like, that really shouldn't have happened. That was toxic. You should really run.
Yes. I'm like, walk away. I mean, so I thought this was taking like the well-worn framework of, the holiday rom-com. We're going back home. Yeah. The small town, the tense family situation. Mm-hmm. Because it does kind of hang everything on this framework. The small town where every time you walk outside, you're going to run into somebody you know. Mm-hmm. I've seen this movie 100 times on Hallmark. And like, okay, this is an interesting framework to start hanging the story about, two women in love and this journey and the family dynamics. And and I'm like, well, this story, like the forcing my girlfriend back in the closet, like it's 2020.
Yeah.
I could see this movie being made in 1995.
But this was from a small town, and
I get it. But it made me really not like one of the leads, and then I'm supposed to reconcile that at the end of the movie, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't reconcile it because I didn't forget what was going on.
One of the things that I thought was salvaging this movie is the messages, and even though it is 2020, no one should tell another person when they should come out, but you also don't have to be with someone because they don't want to come out.
I found it to not be as original as I hoped it would be. When I'd seen what the movie was, I thought it was going to do more than what it did. Yeah. And I was, I don't know. I wanted Abby to be treated better. Again, Abby, you deserve more. You deserve better. You, Melissa McCarthy, deserve better.
But Abby does.
And so I don't know. What is odd, and I'll just say this, is I watched another movie this week that is dealing with this topic in a much better way.
Oh, good.
A film called Uncle Frank, which, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, I did a little review of it, a little quick hit 5-minute review of this film, Uncle Frank, because we didn't have time for it on the show this week. But it's another film dealing with this same topic, only set in the 70s. It was an odd pairing watching them back to back, and I was like, well, that one deals with it much better than this one does.
Well, maybe this is going to be a topic that's going to hit mainstream more often.
It
Because
might be.
This is actually something that has been out, but it's usually underground,
Sure.
not underground, but it doesn't get any publicity because of Daniel Levy being so popular with Schitt's Creek. This rocketed up, and it's top 10 on Netflix at the moment.
Odd film, and I like Clea Duvall a lot. She does some interesting things, and I like her. And I like this cast. Like Clea Duvall is an actress who, when I was dating my wife, they were doppelgangers.
Yeah.
My friends would always mention that.
Do you feel less of Mackenzie Davis?
No, I still love Mackenzie Davis.
Okay,
she's
cool.
great.
Yeah.
She's great in everything.
She's just a terrible Harper.
Harper's
terrible.
What did you give The Happiest Season?
I gave it a 3. I did enjoy this movie, but it didn't really end the way it should.
Sure. I think I gave it the same. I think I gave it 3 stars as well. Look at that. There we go. Simpatico.
Nice.
There you go. All right, sir, let's take a moment to look ahead at some films that are going to be coming out the weekend of December 11th. Got a few for you here. The first one on Netflix, there's a film called Bobbleheads the Movie. The Voices, an animated film starring the voices of Cher and Luke Wilson and Jennifer Coolidge about some bobbleheads who deal with intruders coming in and trying to swap out some beloved baubles for something else. I'm a huge bobblehead collector. That's where I'm going to end it. I don't know if I'm interested in this movie. We also have on Netflix on December 14th a film called The Prom, which is a musical comedy about a troupe of self-obsessed theater stars who swarm a small Indiana town in support of a high school girl who wants to take her girlfriend to prom. This is from director Ryan Murphy, who did Glee and many other things.
Oh, okay.
I believe also Hollywood.
Did he also do Ratchet?
Maybe. I don't know.
No.
It stars Nicole Kidman, Meryl Streep, Keegan-Michael Key, Kerry Washington, James Corden. Sounds kind of interesting. Over on Amazon Prime, we have a film called I'm Your Woman, which is a crime drama of a woman on the run with her baby after her husband gets into trouble with the wrong people. Stars Rachel Brosnahan. Over on Disney Plus, we have a film called Safety, which is the true story of Ray McElthreeby, a Clemson football player who secretly raised his younger brother on campus after his home life became too unsteady. I remember seeing this story.
What was his last name again?
Don't worry about it. You'll find out if you watch Safety on Disney Plus. And then over on HBO Max, we have a film called Let Them All Talk, which is a coming-of-age dramedy about an author who goes on a cruise with friends and a nephew to try and get over her troubled past. The stars Meryl Streep, Lucas Hedges, and Gemma Chan. So 2 Meryl Streep movies that weekend.
Wow.
Look out. That's what we have coming up that weekend. Before we move forward, though, we have to take a moment to thank our friends over at Marcus Theaters, the Palace Cinema here in Sun Prairie. Thank you for always being a part of this program, and we encourage you to check out what they have going on. I believe they have things going on the weekends where you can get some popcorn and some treats if you like. So you just go on their app or their webpage or whatever and check out what they've got going on. But we encourage you to support them because we want them to stick around in these hard times.
It is very hard times.
It is. It's not getting easier. Next week, sir, we have some interesting films. We have Mank, the David Mankiewicz story, Waiting for the Barbarians, Sound of Metal, and Godmothered. That's going to be a fun show next week.
Are we shoving all those in?
There's only 4. We can do it.
Okay,
we just did it. No worries. If you want to find more from us, we encourage you to find us on Facebook or on Instagram, Real Reviews TV, at Real Reviews TV. Go on there, check it out, and chat with us. We love to go back and forth with you. And again, I'm posting little quick hits, little 5-minute reviews of movies that we don't get to here because I watched a ton of movies over the weekend and we have no time for all of that nonsense.
Do you put them on Facebook?
They're on Facebook as well, so make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram. The videos are right there. You can see the inner workings of my home.
I'm going to watch your 5-minute video
All right.
tonight.
Check that out. I'll be also doing Fat Man, which is the Santa Claus movie starring Mel Gibson. That's the next one I'll be doing.
Yeah,
that's an interesting
That
Santa.
should be interesting.
You bet. You said you like Santa knowing karate in Christmas Chronicles. Look out for Santa with an AK.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh, he's not a happy man.
No, he never is. Anyways, all that nonsense and more coming up next week. But until that time, I'm Jamison.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.